Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Hi, Nikki. What's up, DK Dude Man? Dahlia. No one special. Let's see. The question from No One Special is, can you please elaborate on establishing energetic boundaries in direct, non-conceptual experience? Yeah. The question about boundaries, energetic boundaries, I have to frame by saying it's something that becomes more and more obvious in deeper realization, but I'll just frame it in terms of conventional boundaries, and that is noticing how your energy is affected by the energy of others around you, understanding that clearly through a lot of direct energetic experience, understanding the effect of causes and conditions arising and how that affects your energetics, and how it affects the energetics of others in interacting with you. And all this is going to become clear, and really trusting that that's showing you something. And the thing about it is, it may not make sense to others all the time. It may not make conventional sense. You may spend less time around people than you did before, or around certain people, or the ways in which you interact with people may really feel different to them. And with time, you will adjust to recognizing that's just how it's going to be, and you'll have to find a way to communicate that. That's pretty much what I mean by energetic boundaries. Seeing that some types of interactions can overload your system, knowing that about yourself and knowing your limitations is very important. But also, this doesn't exclude conventional boundaries, right? If somebody feels like an energy vampire or something, just as a more poignant example, address it. You don't have to take it up with that person necessarily, but recognize that okay, when I'm around a certain person, I start to feel a certain way, and I carry that outside of that interaction. And, you only have so much capacity at a time. With time, you will stop reacting to people, and then you'll even stop having, resistance patterns that perpetuate and carry themselves out of certain interactions, or that if they do so, it's for a much shorter time. That will happen, but it takes some time. It just takes some insight and some integration before that becomes clear to where you can interact with people, even if it's a heavy interaction or something that's energetically dense. And then in the next moment, you basically just let it go. So there's not a residue. And it's nice when that happens. It's deep realization, even liberation. But before that and up to that point, just know you do have your limitations. Now, again, if the energetic aspect of it is confusing, just think of it in terms of conventional boundaries until the energetics become more and more obvious to you. That's a good question. This one's from Ashley. Hey, everyone. It's been a while. I was moving for my in-person stuff for school the weekend of the double barrel. Oh, okay. Well, good to see you now. Hey, Swara. Good to see you. Hello from North Carolina. What's up, Jennifer? Good to hear from you. Hey, Val. Hello from the UK. Right on. David and Elaine, good to hear from you, as always. All right. Let me go down a little bit here. Elizabeth. I'm trying to access the channel from YouTube on a laptop I don't normally use. It's not recognized me as a subscriber. What do I do? If it's not recognizing you as a subscriber, it means that you're probably not logged into the same Google account. That'd be my guess, because YouTube and Google are like the same account. I'm not an expert at that kind of stuff, but that's my guess on that. All right. This one's from Perfect Brilliant. Hello from Boston. Hello, hello. Obi. Fetter 8 notes. Sense of self interiority, I guess it might mean inferiority, seems to come from modes of emphasizing certain bodily sensations and de-emphasizing others. Eyes, mouth, nose, throat, chest, shoulders seem key. What else they were going to say? Very subtle and sorry. Sometimes the scrolling on this is rather tricky. It just jumps forward and it's hard to keep in one place. I haven't figured out a good way to fix that yet. The rest of Obi's question, very subtle and kind of ingenious, really. The system pretends to be what is seen, but it's not possible to see it from beyond it. Not sure what to do except noticing this stuff. Yeah, the self structure and pretty much any pattern of movement of attention or emphasis on any aspect of your experience will be anchored to, or I should say mapped to, sensations. It's just the way it works, right? There's nothing wrong with the sensations at all. The sensations are just what they are, but it's like the self structure, the subtle self structure, it's a relative, it stays seemingly intact through relativity, through how it relates to everything, but it's mapped through its relationship to the senses. So just keep noticing it. I think it's also helpful to notice when it's there and when it's not there, because it's not there all the time, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Might seem like it is, but when you just pay attention, there are times when it's clearly there's nothing like that going on. And then other times, it does feel very different, feels heavier and so forth. So. This one's from Joas Bacher. Hey, Angelo. I feel like I'm in the process of dropping the second fetter, also coming out of a wave of huge anxiety, and I'm feeling very overstimulated. Do you think losing the subject, object, let me get to the bottom of here. Oh, here it is. Distinction gets rid of a filter which makes sensations come in more intensely? Yes, it does. Feel overwhelmed by all the sensation. I might also be autistic. I'm realizing, wondering how this all fits together. You're okay. Notice that even the word, the label intense, it's overwhelming. I'm overstimulated. Notice these words and really look into the experience itself and see, are those words there? Are those words and descriptions rising from the experience itself, or are they sort of imputed onto the experience? And this may sound like I'm splitting hairs about words, but it's not. This is not about words. This is about resistance. And resistance run through the mind has these kinds of words tagged to it. So the words lead you back to seeing that there's actually resistance to it. Because I promise you can experience full-on visual immersion with no resistance. With I shouldn't even say with no resistance. You can experience full-on visual immersion just as it is and find it peaceful, equanimous, fascinating. It's the resistance to it that is challenging. And the resistance is tagged with words like, this is too much over, So notice the words. First, notice the thoughts. Notice what the mind is doing with this. That's key. Don't try to fix anything. Take it easy. I mean, if you feel overloaded, that's fine. Take it easy. Relax. You don't have to push hard and constantly, try to get to the next fetter or try to dissolve something, or you don't have to do all that right now. If it feels intense and overwhelming, so be it. But while it's there, while that overwhelm is there, just start to investigate. Okay, here's the thought that says overwhelm. How would this feel if I just kind of let that thought go? That conclusion, that tag, that evaluation, right? And you'll start to see that you will calm down a lot. I don't want to get all into the mechanism of it, but it's more than just the fact that the mind is labeling it, but it's a resistance pattern. But and just be patient. Yeah. This can surprise people when perceptual filters drop and you think that's what you want. And sometimes it's really profound and mystical, and other times it's like overload. It's just like, wow, there's no boundaries, there's no barriers, there's no keeping anything at bay, right? When you used to think you were. You weren't, but you used to think you were, right? Keeping things distant or apart. All right. This one's from Breathing Deeply. Oh, wait. Did I skip somebody? Let me make sure I didn't skip anybody there answering that question. Nope. This one's from Breathing Deeply. Can you talk a little bit about external stimuli being a dream? External stimuli being a dream. Now, I don't usually talk like that. Isn't that funny? Because external stimuli, it's like, well, what do you mean by that, right? externalism is an illusion, right? When I say that you can wake up from the dream of separation in my book, first line of my book, what I'm saying is you can wake up from the illusion that there is separation at all. But if you're asking what is external stimuli, are you asking what's actually out there? Or are you asking what makes it seem like there's an out there in the first place, an in here and an out there, right? So I don't want to get into minutia of metaphysics. Rather, I want to point you to your own immediate experience as clearly as you can, because that's what's going to give you the most bang for your buck, so to speak. So I would ask you, what's your experience, right? When you look seemingly out there, when you look into what seems like the out there, the outside world, what do you see, right? What do you really see there? I would say it's neither a dream nor awake. Those are categories, right? It is exactly what it is, but it's not out there. There is no out there, right? So in that sense, the out there-ness is the dream. It's not what you consider to be external, right? I hope that's helpful. Okay. Let's see here. We are down to Monique. Oh, Monique said, thank you for everything you do. Just wanted to say that. You're very welcome. Bears without ears. What the F? I just logged in and didn't know there was a live scheduled for now. LOL. Your intuition is getting clearer and clearer as you move through this world. This one's from Peter. I've been working on your Fetter 6 resources. They are clear and astonishing. However, myself is too good at coming back online so quickly. Any pointers to work to help make it stick? Yes, this is an easy answer. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the sense of the self. That'll just distract you. The subtle self-sense is going to be there. You can break the sixth fetter and it'll still be there. So maybe you broke it. I don't know. But it's not about getting rid of a subtle self-sense. That's not what that sixth fetter is. It's actually questioning the sense of relationality, as my videos point out over and over. So yeah, that's the answer to that. And it's a common one. Like, it does come up. People are like, oh, I still have this. So it's like you're struggling with something as that something, and that's just a distraction from what you're looking at when you're looking at the sixth fetter. So just reorient your attention to those kinds of pointings that help you dissolve that subject-object construct, or see through it, or investigate it, is a better way of saying it. This one's from San Crispy. I really resonated with the day 4 talk I gave during the latest retreat. Is it scheduled for public release? No, probably not. I do take pieces of those talks and they do get released to the public, but the whole thing won't be. Doesn't that make you feel special? I do a lot free stuff. I do a lot of free stuff for the public. I give away plenty of free everything. But there are benefits to, having the patron circle membership and all the retreat stuff. A lot of it's really good. Some of the best talks I do, probably the best talks I do, are at retreats. And there's a reason for it. It's because I'm there. I'm physically experiencing what everybody's going through, and I'm interacting with them, and I can feel their energetics. So it's easier to talk to that and talk at a deeper level. So it really dials in well. But I appreciate the comments. Hey, Pamela from Oklahoma. Hola. Okay, second question. I'm in a strange place. I feel my inherent freedom and this more and more. That's good. And the light of being. But at the mind level, I'm very neurotic and I barely function. Any comments? Well, I don't know what you mean by neurotic and barely functioning, meaning like maybe a therapist would be helpful with that, or it depends what it is. And if it's ADHD, there are things you can do that are practical, resources available and so forth to help you function better and so forth. So I don't know. But yeah, I think the answer would be a practical answer. And it really depends on what you mean by not functioning well. I never negate the importance and value of developing yourself in the relative, right? I don't emphasize that. I mean, my channel's not a self-help channel or whatever, but there's value to, if you're not functioning a certain area of life, like look at why that's happening and put some work into it. Don't tell yourself, oh, well, I'm waking up, so that's why I'm not functioning, right? It's not really like that. Waking up does affect your functioning. It's like almost like resetting it over and over. But if you're finding yourself to be like non-functional or really low functioning where you used to not be, it's probably more like trauma related than it is about awakening, although awakening does sometimes bring that trauma into consciousness. So something like that. So I would look at it from the standpoint of relative. Like, do you need a practical framework to help get you moving in some direction or some particular help in a certain area of life or a therapist? I would look at practical answers for that. Yeah. And be patient. I'm not going to say that doesn't happen. It does happen in this. And, you can go from a place of feeling super high functioning to being like lower energy, like reprocessing, kind of going into a dormant phase. I will also say, this may not relate to you, but it probably does to some degree. I've seen this many times where when you stop perceiving time in the same way, you may not feel like you're doing much, but you are, right? You may actually be functioning reasonably okay, maybe just a little less than usual activity-wise or whatever. And it feels like nothing's happening, like you're just like completely non-functional. I've felt that way before, and I've always been pretty functional. I've always done quite a bit. But I've spent days just sitting, and like feels like, oh my God, nothing's happening. Nothing's ever going to happen. I'm never going to move. And it's like, whatever, that's just what's happening. But the perception, how can I say this? The perception of what's happening in the moment being all that ever happens becomes more and more actually as you wake up more. So be aware of that. When people ask me, how do you do so much? Like, I don't really feel like I do much. I really don't. I can reflect on it and say, okay, yeah, I guess I do, one video every day and I do this and I work, but it doesn't actually feel like that's happening in the moment. Like right now, it doesn't feel like anything's happening. It's just words coming, sounds are being made, some reading is happening. Like everything feels rather empty. So there is sometimes this other element that comes in where you may be misjudging it a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that's the case. You may really have some functional issues that need to be addressed, but just be aware that that's another part of this probably, at least to some degree. And it is for some people more than others. Thank you for your question. This one's from Didier. Hi, Angelo and community. Been through intense trauma release year. Mindstorm, existential fears, shame, guilt, helplessness, loneliness. Really like a dorsal freeze state. Dark night. Now peace. Awesome. Yeah, the dorsal freeze, the dorsal vagal shutdown, which is like the kind of, I don't know how to say it, it's kind of like the backbone of dissociation. It's the somatic aspect of dissociation that can be really profound. And it's one of those things that like when you're in it, it can feel so, I don't even know if hopeless is the word. It just feels so, dissociated. Just you feel so out of sorts and so out of contact with reality, with life somehow. Even though it's a kind of neutral space too, it's not comfortable generally. But if you ever find yourself in that space, my advice is always pretty much the same. It's like, start by feeling something. Just feel your body, right? Find your way back into the flow of experience by starting with your own body. If you don't, if you're like going, I don't feel anything. There's no body here. There's no sense of a body at all. No, I can't find anything. I can't find sensations. Then pinch yourself, right? Start with just feeling your feet on the floor or feel something warm or cool, but if not, pinch yourself. You'll feel it. Pinch yourself till it hurts. And then okay, that's pain. You're feeling that, right? Then just kind of notice as you let go, it's like, there's still like some residue of that sensation there, even though it doesn't hurt anymore. Okay, I can feel my skin surface. I can feel underneath my skin a little deeper into my body. I can feel myself breathing, right? You can lead yourself back into this. And I know this because I've done it with people who are chronically dissociated, like severely dissociated, and they can do it. But if you stay in your mind about it, like there's nothing, I can't feel anything, like I'm just so shut down, then you won't test whether or not you can actually reassociate into the somatic experience. But if you actually do it, if you make that effort, you can. So this is maybe not specific to DDA, as he's doing fine now, but just know if that ever happens, like you can always find your way back into sensations. And that's always a good answer, always, no matter what we're doing. Even if we're doing deep shadow process, getting back to the sensations it's like a large part of all of this, really. Even though, again, the mind doesn't think it's a big deal. It's like, oh, there's nothing there. It's like, but it is a big deal. And more is going on than you realize when you're reassociating with sensation and just feeling. So yeah, thanks for your message. Autumn says, I had to put my dog down yesterday. That's sad. And I am no less sad than before I started this journey. Before there was a thought that we may see each other again one day. Now there is just deep loss. Yeah. Sad. Yeah. Didier said, trauma is an intense portal healing path. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Molly Unlimited says, hello from Pennsylvania. Hello, Molly Unlimited. Infinite Nothing, what's up? In Israel. Elisa, can awakening and shadow work have any effect on chronic pain? Oh, totally. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, shadow work will help with chronic pain. Definitely. Yeah. Some chronic pain is very wired into emotional pain, repressed emotional material. But even chronic pain that has very physical, somatic roots can be eased quite a bit by getting underneath the resistance patterns. And resistance patterns are all encoded in trauma. It's a good question. Let's get moving up here. There we are. Jams, good morning. Monique Dawson says, politics used to be my big trigger, but I'm noticing that even though I may comment on something, that feeling of anger and contraction is far less now. It's almost like it's just coming from a neutral. I should probably finish that sentence down here somewhere. Or not. Okay. Neutral place, maybe. Yeah. I feel you. Like I have the same thing. Like I can be definitely concerned about things going on in the world. But it doesn't feel triggering, strangely. And I can be significantly concerned, like, oh yeah, that's not going to go well. That's not a good turn for us. But it doesn't feel triggering. It also strangely doesn't feel like anything's wrong. Is that strange? It's not there's not a feeling of moral judgment about it. It's just what's happening. But it has everything has implications, of course. So yeah, it kind of comes down to like, it's all causes and conditions. None of it is actually temporal in time. And it's all actually non-dualistic too. So it's like the contact is thorough, and yet certain causes and conditions have implications, and that's not ignored in the relative, right? It just doesn't have to cause a trigger, contraction of whatever, freak out, so to speak. Ashley said, I have a story to share. The other day, I was testing out transit and got off at the wrong stop coming back. Before, I would have totally panicked. This time, no panic. Just was, and I figured it out. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you could have, the challenges can arise, even big challenges, right? And yet, at some point, something makes the connection that, oh, freaking out about it doesn't help. Just doesn't help. You're still in the same situation. You still have to navigate it, right? Yep. No One Special said, thank you for the energetic boundaries exploration. That helps. Good. Glad to hear it. Swarananda says, wondering if you could talk about destiny. Destiny seems delusional, but at the same time, I do feel that I followed my intuition towards truth and it's taken me far. Is that destiny? You know, the problem for me with talking about something like destiny, predestination, fate, free will, is all of them make all of those, even though they're like on two sides of something, right? There's like destiny and free will, fate, and all of those, though, they all make the same mistaken pre-assumption. And once you see through that assumption, once we could say the seventh fetter falls, right? Time and space gone. Then you see those just they're erroneous because they're based on something that doesn't exist. So it's not that causality doesn't exist, right? It's just that there's no time. So causes and conditions have effects, but the causes and effects are not temporally separated. They're like dependently originated. That may not make sense, but it's totally obvious once those fetters drop. So a really good way of talking about this is actually through relativity, like the special theory of relativity. There's an important equation that holds it together called the space-time interval. And it's basically an equation that describes what it is that's actually constant and whether it's space or time that are constant. And it's not. Those are not constant. Those are relative. They're flexible, so to speak. It's not obvious in the dimension that we usually experience because it requires either very high speeds or very long distances, right? Or scales we don't perceive with our own senses. But it can be proven, and it has been proven. But the truth is time and space are totally relative, and causality is the only thing that's actually consistent. So a very conventional way of saying this that explains and answers the original question is all events are simultaneously existing. It's just a matter of causes and conditions as to which ones express. And that can be actually directly experienced outside of time, strangely. The knowledge of that's exactly what's going on. But then it totally obliterates the idea of free will, because free will is saying like, oh, right now I make a decision that can cause this to happen later. There's no later, right? There's also no separation, so there's no separate agent. Yeah, so all of those ideas that sound metaphysical and so forth, they kind of fall apart in deeper realization. At least they did for me. But they're fun to think about. Okay. Great question, by the way. Meta Frog. Hi, Angelo. I've been working on reactivity. I thought I was done because it's clear reactions are illusory, but resistance still come back, and at times really strong. What am I doing wrong? You may not be doing anything wrong. When there's resistance, are you reacting to it? You can feel resistance. You can feel intense sensations, intense emotions, and not have a reaction. A reaction is, in the way we talk about it with fetters and so forth, is there some sense that you need to do something about it? That's the reaction, right? Resistance can be very strong, and it is after the self-structure drops. They can come back very strong for periods of time. And it's very obvious that there's not a damn thing you can do about it or that you need to do anything about it. So there's a difference between reactivity and resistance in that way of speaking. So the question for you is, are you reacting when you feel resistance, or what you're calling resistance? When you feel an intense sensation, emotion, when something unexpected happens, are you reacting to it? Is something going down the chain of reactivity saying, I need to do this, this, and this about this? In those reactions can be a lot of things, including dissociation, but a lot of times they're behavioral, right? You're like outwardly reacting. That's the question that helps to answer your question. All right, this one's from Akshay. Akshay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say the name right. I'll say Akshay. I think this whole journey is so hard without a guru. Whenever the next conceptual hope ends, it's excruciating reality all over again. I wish I knew someone in my life to contextualize all this. Yeah, I mean, it's helpful to have a non-dual facilitator for sure. That's why I recommend, if things aren't moving, or you feel stuck, or you feel stagnant, or you've been meditating for 20 years and nothing's changed, work with somebody who can pull the rug, point you past. Now, I will tell you this. I don't know, based on your question though, it could be you may be disappointed in what they provide for you because they're not there to provide something for you. They're there to correct the view, so to speak. They're there to help dissolve fixed views or sticky views, right? So sometimes we want to have this special relationship with a guru or a teacher, and that's the barrier. That can actually be the barrier. It's not usually. Most times it's not, but I've had it. That's exactly what it is. People interact with me and they want to wake up and so forth. But what the barrier I feel is they want to be friends with me. They're trying to form some kind of special relationship with me. And it's like, I'm fine being friends, but that's not what this connection's about. That's not what this interaction's about. And if I let you make it about this, I'm doing you a disservice, right? So it's like a guru that lets you worship them, be careful kind of thing. But it may very well benefit you to work with somebody who has gone through these shifts. Great question. This is from Elizabeth Carson. I understand intellectually that the past doesn't exist, nor does the future. Good. All that exists is the present moment. And it keeps changing. I understand I'm not in my story. What next? Is that a trick question? Are you testing me? Read your own question. There's no past or future. There's no future. So when you ask what next, what is that? What is the nature of the question? It's a thought. When your mind says what next, that is always a thought. Did we just go offline? I don't know. What happened? Sorry if you guys don't see me. My little screen just disappeared. Oh, okay. Don't know what happened there. Hopefully I didn't cut anything off that I said to you. But yeah, it's a really great question. But I wasn't sure if it was, I don't think it was a trick question. But yeah, no past, no future. So what next? Seeing that when your mind asks that question, or when you ask the question, kind of not realizing like, oh, my mind wants to know what next, right? I'm identifying with that thought. It's a thought. There's no next. Never will be, never could be, never can be. In fact, this brings to a bigger question a little bit, opens to a bigger question. It's something I get not uncommonly in comments on my videos, and often there are people who are upset. I had one the other day. When I talk about it's already here, like enlightenment is here, that one really can trigger people sometimes because they'll say, it almost looks like they're yelling at, I don't know if they're yelling, it looks like they're yelling they'll start by saying this is bullshit. And sometimes they use capitals, but it'll be like, I've heard you say, it happened for me at this time, or, you're close to awakening, or if you're approaching awakening, they'll quote me saying things that sound like time. And then they're upset because it sounds like such a contradiction when I say it's right here. Right. So while I understand the frustration, I think it's being projected onto me. I think the frustration isn't really because I'm contradicting myself. That's not what's upsetting you. I mean, I might be contradicting myself, but as Walt Whitman said, if I contradict myself, so be it. I am vast and I contain multitudes. But what's upsetting you isn't that. What's upsetting you is I'm pulling the rug. What's upsetting you is I'm taking away your seeking, and that's what you want. You want to seek. Some part of you wants to seek, right? I'm not talking to the person asking this question necessarily, but that's what happens, right? People, they're attached to the seeking, and when I really directly point that it's right here, it pisses them off sometimes. But yeah, if you're really looking at it like logically, then the key is what you just said. When you really see that time is only a thought, only ever could possibly be a thought. You've never touched the future or the past, ever. You've thought about it over and over and over and over and over, right? It's just here, just what's here. This is it. All it ever could be, right? When that's clear, then these other questions are really answered if you honor your own insight. Does that make sense? That I can talk in terms of awakenings. I can talk in terms of shifts and fetters falling, sure. And where's that happening? Right now. Where's everything happening? Right now. Where does awakening happen? Right now. Right? Now, yes, words have some cumbersome aspects that you can't even speak unless you have some dualistic textures in language, right? That's the nature of language. That's also why in my book, I wrote a whole chapter on paradoxes, by the way. But if anyone's really interested doctrinally, look at the Two Truths doctrine. It's helpful to understand this, for instance. But anyway, I think I beat that to death. Good morning from the PNW. Orca. PNW. Pacific Northwest. Jennifer says, I can't think of anything to ask or say. Feeling sort of flat and just chilling. It's all right. Chilling like a villain. I remember when I ran out of questions. I wanted to ask questions, but I just couldn't think of any to ask anymore. I actually knew there were no questions that were meaningful to me. Orca says, listened to most of your talks last week. So good. It was a good week. Yeah, the retreat was good. It was tight. There was 40 people there. We did circling. Yeah, I thought the lecture series was good. It came out good. Better than most, I think. Let's see. This is from Joas Baker. This pain feels so horrible, I really don't want to feel it, and there seems no other way out. I have professional help. I know I could get through this, but it might be years of pain. Any comments? The way... It's so hard to talk about this because I don't want to invalidate what you're feeling, but I do want to say the way out isn't worrying about how long it's going to last, and it's not framing how bad it is for yourself. None of that's helping. The way out is in. I mean, the way that this resolves itself is to go directly into it. Go into what you're avoiding. Maybe you're feeling it 50%, feel the other 50%. Maybe you're feeling it 90%. Maybe you just need to feel that last 10%. But something's avoiding it more than you realize. And that's what feels like resistance. That's what feels like these, it's so horrible. I don't want to feel it. I don't want, two things. One is I don't want it. And the other form this generally takes is the form of time. How long is this going to last? These are very common tricks of the mind that sound like they're helping you, but they're making you feel a lot worse and they're helping you avoid feeling it. Yeah. So I'm just going to be direct because I feel for you. I understand. And if we were sitting face to face in a group and we were doing deep shadow process, I would get you in there, find your way in. What is this? What do I really need to feel here? Instead of going, how long do I have to feel this? Like, I don't know if I could do this for years and years and years. I don't know if I could do it for years. Like, if you think in terms of years, you're going to suffer so much in that thought. If you just stop thinking about time and just go, what is here? What do I need to feel? Kind of go right to the center of it. Where am I feeling it? Where am I feeling it? You feeling it in your chest? You feeling it in your gut? Go there. Go there right now. Go all the way in there. Don't let your thoughts turn you around, Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. And I can't give you a time frame because, first of all, I don't want to feed that time monster. Second of all, I don't know. But I've seen people break through things like this in 30 minutes. Literally. Many, many times. It's a matter of going there, though. It's what your mind doesn't want to do because it doesn't know how. Not because it's excruciating, not because it's impossible, not because it's overwhelming. It's because your mind literally doesn't know how to do that. All it knows how to do is go, no, get away. How long is it going to last? Does that make sense? Follow it in somatically. That's the key. Okay? And good luck to you. Best of luck to you. I feel you. Perfect, brilliant. Last week, my ego seemed to dissolve suddenly and things changed. I feel amazing and free, but also intense and strange events happening externally. Can you say something about this? I don't need to say something about that. Sounds like a good deal. Could have been an awakening if that was your first shift. I can say something, and that is, don't try to frame it. Really, it sounds harmless. It seems harmless. Seems interesting, and then you get in this flow state where you're like, yeah, it's all good. Everything's good. Everything's interesting, and you move. But the habits that pull you into conceptuality are still there in the background, and they can pull you into this like conceptual framework about it. Right? Don't do that. Just really spend some time just letting yourself feel it. I've even told people like right after awakening, I'm like, cancel anything that's unnecessary. Don't distract yourself. Don't do a bunch of social stuff you don't need to do. Don't go talking about this. Don't try to conceptualize it in any way. Like sit. Like there's a window open now. Sit. While that honeymoon period's here, feel it. Stay in the wordless, stay in the non-conceptual, stay in the feels, stay in the consciousness, stay in the flow of experience, and just let it dissolve more and more and more and more and more. Yeah. You don't need to frame it. Doesn't need a label. And I'm happy for you. All right. Tyson, what's up? Good to hear from you. Akshay, I feel I'm coming in contact with raw reality, and every identity I let go brings freedom, but a little bit of freedom for a whole lot of groundlessness. Me and my friend talked about quitting this today. Right? Do you think you could quit? That's it. I'm out. You are out, just not in the way you think you're going to be out. Yeah. The groundlessness is also semi-conceptual, although it doesn't feel like it. But it's kind of like a grasping in the space of consciousness. You can always ground yourself in sensation. Always. Feel it. Lay on the ground. Do some yoga and feel. Get in the pool, swimming pool, take a bath, get a massage. Tap yourself, tapping. Feel it. Just stay in the feels if you feel ungrounded. Breathe. Smell, aromatherapy. Okay. Frank, what's up? Clear water, muddy water. Sometimes I can see the bottom, sometimes not. I guess I'll just keep swimming. Yeah. That's how it goes, right? It can be disorienting, and then all of a sudden there's just incredible clarity. Then it's disorienting. Then there's like incredible clarity. That's how it goes for a while. Tim says, the stranger in the mirror. Who is that dude? There was this funny, I'm licking my lips a lot. Sorry. I had a cold recently. My lips are dry. Many people here will know this song by Billy Joel called The Stranger. It's actually a really good song. It almost sounds like it's about sexual fetishes or something, and maybe it is partially, but there's something about it that's like haunting. It's like, did you ever, I can't remember the exact lyrics, but it's, we all have a stranger. It's like something essentially, we all have a stranger within us, right? And some of them have this, some of them have that. They look like this, they like that. But it's kind of like when you're surprised when the stranger comes through your lover and hits you right between the eyes, is how he said it. And he goes, but did you really think that was so strange? Have you ever let your lover see the stranger in yourself? So we all have the stranger within us. And one way of interpreting it is, it's the stranger is kind of like the authentic self, right? That one that we never fully let out, or we hide aspects of our drives, our desires, our bizarreness, our whatever, and actually our heart, our love, our compassion, our sensitivity. Like we hide all kinds of things about ourselves. It's like the stranger, right? But it's funny, if you look in the mirror, it's a really powerful practice. I do this a lot with people in groups, have them looking in mirrors. We do it as part of the initiation ceremony often when we're doing circling. So it's actually a really good practice. The stranger in the mirror. Darren says, listening to your daily for a few years now. Very grateful. Recently, I feel under attack by my mind. All the old greatest hits. Emotional roller coaster. Thanks for any feedback. I'm a big fan. Do some emotion work, some kind, do relational stuff, whether it's what we do, like deep shadow process, inside circle, something like that. You could consider trauma therapy if there's some significant trauma, some somatic therapy, something somatic. I would look into something somatic. Just look around, see what's available where you are, what you want to do, whether you want to travel for it. Because you can get to a significant degree of clarity through consciousness, actually, even after awakening. But at some point, it's like the mind just loses its ability to, I don't know how to say this, like, because we're identified within thought anyway, we kind of lose that register of feeling like we're able to self-soothe and, even find equanimity through thought and consciousness alone. And we have to really drop into the somatic experiences as well. There's still ways to stabilize consciousness and calm the mind and do consciousness-based meditation, which if you don't do, check out my playlist, Consciousness, which I have tons of pointers that show you how to do that unbound consciousness meditation, which is helpful for what you're talking about. But something is calling you deeper is what I'm picking up from your comment. It's time to do some deeper shadow work. Probably. Maybe you have done shadow work. It's just something else is knocking at the door, needs attention. Akshay says, what do you think all the mistrust and AI in the world is going towards? Is it a movement towards awakening where people are forced to trust their instinct? I don't know. Great question. We certainly are seeing massive reorganization, right? In the human world, not in the animal world or whatever. I mean, except for the secondary effects that we cause in them, but in the human world, and I would say in human consciousness, but it's not just consciousness, it's also the world we're producing and interacting with through our consciousness, like AI and screens and all this. It's accelerating insanely now. So we're going to see massive revolutions in this lifetime. I don't know what kind of revolutions, but we've seen a data revolution, and now we've seen a kind of revolution in entertainment and the way we use like screens and stuff, right? To the point where it's like dopamine scrolling and social media and phones and like, but now we have AI. I think we're just going to see all kinds of reorganization and change. And I don't think it's bad or good necessarily. But I do love the good opportunities that come out of it. Like I love that I can put this stuff on YouTube and anyone can see it. Anyone can wake up by watching these videos and doing some work, it's amazing, but we'll see. All right. Ashley, sometimes you have to look at a checklist or something to realize how much you have actually done. I live by checklists and reminders these days. Yeah, I agree with Ashley on that. Like if I look back or if I really somehow conceptualize, which I don't do very often, and realize like, oh, okay, yeah, I have done quite a bit. But in the moment, it can feel like really nothing's happening. Especially if you are just chilling for a day or two and just meditating or sitting, it'll feel like, oh my God, my life has fallen completely apart. Gadamole, maybe related to some other question, but I was walking around in London, staying as much as possible outside of relating to things back and forth, and I felt uncomfortably vulnerable. It's good. It's a good direction for sure. Bears without ears says, my intuition is leading me to a coffin. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but oh my gosh. PV Anderson says, thank you for your work. I discovered your channel a few months ago and feel it's exactly what I need now. And the separate self feels really, really thin. Awesome. Things are going fast now. Right on. Good to hear from you. I'm glad it's helping. You must have been ready for sure. This one's from Jurjams. And I scrolled down again. Let me get myself back up there somewhere. This thing does this bizarre scrolling thing every once in a while. It just scrolls way down. Okay. Jurjam says, hello, Angelo. I'll be joining you for Shadow Process in March. Awesome. I feel unprepared. Good. Like I need to be more in touch with the emotional energy in the body. Protector part is keeping me stuck in thought. Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't have to be prepared because you can't be in one sense. In another sense, you're probably more prepared than you realize. Signing up for this is something. Your body knows you did it. Your system knows you did it. So there's an energetic to all of this. But if you want to be more prepared, just ask yourself simple questions periodically, and don't rail on yourself about having to get it right or anything. But just periodically ask, like, what is it I need to touch into? What do I really want to feel? Or is there anything I'm avoiding? Just questions like that, just to see like what's underneath that, what's in there, right? Is there something I'm scared of? Like just start to explore a little bit what are your more emotional motivations are and stuff like that. But honestly, you don't have to do anything. Just show up and we'll take care of it. The whole group will, and you will, but we'll give you a lot of guidance. Unknown Drunk says, hello. A repeating pattern seems to be coming up. I'm seeking something, say peace, and something is obstructing it. I say anxiety. I get glimpses of peace, but they don't stick. Then notice that seeking peace itself is a form of anxiety. Okay, so I try to drop seeking, discover I can't because it has momentum. But notice this makes it not mine, which allows acceptance. Okay. To the resistance. Then I experience a paradoxical peace in the anxiety. I no longer need to feel peace. Exactly. I've transcended it, kind of. Is that freedom in conditions? Sounds good to me. Yeah. It's just like that. Like what you're describing, I relate to, in that it's like when you learn to ride a bike and you overcorrect, like you steer one way and then you oversteer the other way. It has that feel to it at first when you start to feel resistance. It's like, oh, I want to do something about this, right? Oh, I found it and I want to do something about it. But then you start to realize like, oh, you're trying to make it go away, which is also resistance. You're kind of adding to it, and you're like, shit, okay, I don't need it to be fixed. I don't need, and then, or you notice something in your mind. It's like, oh, I have this agenda. The agenda is I want to feel peace, but that's not what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling resistance, but I want to feel peace, right? So you can see what you're doing with that. And all of a sudden you realize, shit, that doesn't work. So you almost get to a failure point. But it requires clear seeing too. It requires actually seeing these mechanisms in real time. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, equanimity is just here. I don't have an agenda. And I see clearly, I feel clearly, I know what's happening. I can feel it directly, and there's no need for an agenda. Not even because you don't want to have an agenda, but because they're pointless. They don't do what they say they're doing, right? So anyway, that's a good description you unpacked there for us all. All right. Pamela says, regarding being less functional sometimes, at times when the energetics were really intense, I'd tell my family, I kind of have an energy flu. They'd know to give me some grace as if I was ill. I like that. Yeah, communicate with people. Maybe put it in terms that will make sense to them. It can be helpful for sure. Akshay says, how do I know I will be okay when I take this journey up? Okay, I can answer that pretty straightforward, and that is the only way I think anyone will really ever realize they're truly okay is by taking this journey up. Short of that, there's always going to be doubt. There just will be doubt because mind identification is laden with doubt. So then, well, you either have to take my word for it or it's a leap of faith. And ultimately it will be a leap of faith because you could always doubt that I'm telling the truth. You could say, well, Angela's just making this up, right? So ultimately this is a kind of leap of faith, and I took the leap of faith. This is why getting leverage with your own suffering is really helpful. This is why suffering is the path. Suffering is such a gift because it's making you feel so uncomfortable that you're like, fuck it. Okay, fine, I'll let go. Like, I mean, it's kind of absurd that we're so terrified to let go of thoughts, honestly. But that's what we're really letting go of at first. It's absurd because that's how arrogant the mind is. Like, oh, if I don't constantly think, then like all these bad things are going to happen. They don't, but it will feel like that. So at some point you'll have to take a leap of faith and let go in consciousness. Yeah. And that's when you first taste the okayness, right? As Adi Shanti has said, you realize everything is unimaginably okay. Yeah. Yep. And then these other things you said, like, I feel like my fundamental issue is not being able to exist without a witness. It's just not true, but you can't, it's hard to investigate that conceptually, right? It'll just be a circle. So just keep orienting toward awakening. Cool. This one's from Karen or Kareen. First time participant here. Thanks for all your videos and talks. You're welcome. They have helped me tremendously. Glad to hear it. Yep, you're very welcome. This is from Tyson saying, sorry to Autumn. Same person here. Karen or Karen. I'm in awe how life brings me situations to feel emotions I thought I wouldn't need to feel in this life. Brings me peace to acknowledge them as that and not get swept away in the stories for too long. Beautiful. That's it. That's a healthy relationship with emotions right there described. This one's from Kisumu Flavor. Kisumu Flavor. Hey, Angelo. Working on Fetter 4 and 5. Looking for the gap. The knot in the gut just seems like it comes out of nowhere and goes into nowhere. Then getting closer to release into love. Is this how it is? Is that how it is? Well, Fetter 4 and 5 are very specific for reactivity. Reacting in the way like Kevin Channel put this forward and the way I usually put my videos. So it's not necessarily about a sensation in the gut or a sensation. It's unless that's the gap for you, unless you know how to structure those questions and you find that reaction gap and you're just finding sensations in the gut, that would be different. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking though. Really the question is, are you reacting anymore? And if you're reacting, if there's still reactivity, then go back to structure the statement in terms of what is not happening that you want to be happening. Right? That's where the reaction trigger originates, turns out. In that way of doing things. Okay. This one's from Mark. What do you do with the emotions of what you see as implications in the world? Since the retreat, judging and triggers have subsided, but sadness, grief, and fear have become more acute. That's good. That's a good thing. It can take a little getting used to because we still think we need to do something about those, but you don't. Yeah, it's okay to feel fear, sadness, and grief about the way things are in the world, right? That will be there for quite a while. I can say that you can get to a place, sounds terrible, get to a place, but a lot of the emotion we impute onto even the world, even when genuinely tragic things are happening, what we don't often realize is a lot of the emotion we impute onto that is actually about us, not about that. Most of it is what I find. You'll still have concerns. It's not like you're not going to be concerned when terrible things happen. But so first of all, the emotions are fine. There's nothing you need to do about them. Just feel. And over time, they probably will calm down. Yeah, but they don't need to. This one's from Creepy Battenberg. A few weeks ago, it became very clear that time does not exist. It literally stopped me in my tracks. Things seem to have ramped up since, going from intense peace to confusion and anxiety regularly. That's awesome. Yeah, the confusion and anxiety is because the mind, the thought system doesn't have anything to anchor itself to when you see through time, right? It'll calm down. But as I mentioned, or as I answered a question previous, like a little ways up here, this is probably a sign it's time to do some deeper work somehow, some deeper shadow work, some somatic work. Look into that, the kind of answer I gave somebody else earlier. Because yeah, you're not going to solve this at the level of thought, obviously, because thought needs time and all that, right? This gets solved at the level of depth of the vertical descent into shadow material. So yeah, and patience, as always, patience. Pamela, regarding politics, we never have any idea of the ultimate implications of anything. I can have plenty of opinions and I can voice them and I can act as if it feels aligned, but there's less clenching. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of true. Like, what is it? What's the saying? It's kind of goofy, but it's kind of really makes a point, right? To the lobsters in the kitchen of the Titanic that were in the lobster tank that were still alive, the sinking of the Titanic was a miracle, right? So, yeah. Anyway. Swara says, RE Destiny Talk. All events are simultaneously happening. Yes. So clear. Thank you. You're welcome. Nomi Peter says, over the last months, been having strange sensations, first while walking in nature and recently in session with my osteopath. No up or down, space dissolving, seeing my body, but feeling like there is no end or beginning between me and the outside. Yep. Like my arms have no end and I am transparent. It's the best of my explanation. Any suggestions how to go with this? Just let it do its thing. Let it be what it is. That's more clear than the way it was before, right? Should be. You'll adjust and acclimatize, but yeah, let that insight itself just clarify itself. Someone says, does normal walking count as meditation? If you want it to. I'm not the holder of the definition of meditation, but I wouldn't normally call it meditation, but you can do walking meditation, For instance, like if you were to walk and practice unbound consciousness, that's totally possible. But yeah, you can define it however you want. They do a walking meditation in Zen called kinhin between each seated round. Okay. P.V. Anderson says, I can see now that resistance, reactions, desires, etc. are completely illusory. Good. Resistance, for instance, seems to be neutral thoughts, stories combined with neutral sensation. Am I missing something? Nope. But do be aware, are you reacting behaviorally? That's always important. I assume you're not probably, but be aware of that. You can see through all this stuff and still react. Strangely. Okay, this is blah, blah, bleep. Should I use thoughts to correct thoughts? Like when I'm jealous of a friend, I think of how I should think. I guess I'm less inclined to try to change it to a should, like I should feel this or I should think that. But if you're going to change something or correct something or reframe something, let it be the thought, not the feeling. If you're feeling jealousy, that's just what you're feeling. But if your mind says, because of jealousy, that person's doing me wrong or something, think of like, well, wait a minute. They're just doing what they're doing. We have no particular commitment or agreement or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you can always kind of correct the view and do some inquiry into, is my interpretation of this accurate? That's helpful. But the feeling is a feeling, right? So good question. Unknown Drunk says, Angelo went into a timeless void right on cue. Tyson says, hi, Angelo. Could you help discern between dissociation and just this? Oh, totally. I'm having a hard time either letting things be or just non-engagement, if that makes sense. Thanks. Okay, just this is a bit of a meme almost. It's a thing that Neo-Advaita type speaking people, non-duality online people tend to use, like it's just this, right? I've said it too. It makes sense because it is just this, but it's like saying simply the seen, simply the cognized, simply the heard, simply the felt. It's totally accurate, and yet it can also just sound like blah, like, right? It can just sound like nothing. It can sound like wherever you go, there you are, or shit happens, or, like just a saying. So if it helps to point in the moment, it's just this, meaning it's not this for someone. It's not this as anything. It's not, whatever. Like it can be good pointing, but if it's turning into like a mental thing for you, like comparing, is it just this or is it that? Like that is probably just a thought, right? In some sense. But when you say the difference between dissociation and just this, I assume you mean, I'm gonna interpret what you're saying, dissociation and presence. If you're talking about this difference between dissociation and presence, being knowingly in presence and integrated is very intimate. It feels relaxed, equanimous, and deeply okay. Dissociation may feel relaxed in some way, but it doesn't feel okay. It doesn't feel deeply okay. It feels dysphoric. It feels like something's off. It feels like I'm not here. And sometimes it feels like I can't feel anything. So it's totally opposite from the somatic experiencing. It's not non-duality. Non-duality is totally intimate. The experience of not two, first of all, is not a heady experience, and it's not a dissociated experience, right? It's a physical experience that's so direct that even physicality falls apart. The sense of form falls apart. It's so close that the form can't even fit into it, so to speak. I'm not sure if that hits, but the key distinction I often make is when you are dissociated, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel right. Whereas non-duality, total presence, when there's not dissociation, especially when there's not a self structure, feels thoroughly equanimous, thoroughly intimate. That's the biggest distinction I think I can make. Also, usually when there's dissociation, the person dissociating knows it's a coping mechanism. They know something triggered it, usually, or they know they have a tendency towards dissociation with certain triggers, or they know it's an avoidance of an emotion. Like there's usually some information there too. So, yeah. But I don't know you, so it's like knowing yourself is important as well. Veritable vagabond. I feel like people don't talk about pleasure that comes from practice a lot. Sure, there's dukkha, but it doesn't have to be this shadowy slog most of the time, right? Well, I don't know if it has to be anything, meaning it's so different for everybody. I will say this, you will not go through this whole process and just telling yourself like practice is bliss, right? It just doesn't work that way. Never seen it. Never seen people who are deeply realized not go through a lot of shadow. But is it there all the time? Definitely not. No. You'll feel deeply peaceful at times. And practice can be very peaceful. So what I will say is when there is some degree of realization and there's a significant degree of experience, especially with prolonged meditation and retreats, it gets very enjoyable. Retreat becomes one of the most enjoyable things that you could do because it's just so deeply peaceful, right? But early on, retreats can be very challenging, right? When you start challenging the ego structure and it doesn't want to do that, it can be very disorienting, challenging, painful, confusing. First handful of retreats you do. Now, again, after awakening and certainly after some deep shadow work, you'll love it. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my overall take on it. But I hesitate to tell people practice should be peaceful, could be peaceful. Practice is what it is. And if you're early on, it may not be peaceful at all. And I don't want you to think you're doing it wrong because you're probably not. So it depends where you are, and you're probably in a place where you have maturity of practice and so forth. So it can definitely get to that level. Absolutely. Bears Without Ears says, a guru that lets you worship them, be careful. Yeah. Well, I mean, seriously. Thanks for the reality check. Ashley. Angelo, can you explain why people think this whole thing will result in never feeling anything negative if we want to label it that way? Why? Okay, here's why I think that is. I think I know why that is. And this is just from lots and lots of observation, working with people. It's not a cognitive thing. It's not like at some point we decided like, oh, that enlightenment thing, that's going to make me not feel anything uncomfortable for the rest of my life. They don't like think of it overtly like that. What I think it actually is it's a remnant of the way the ego structure functions. The ego structure functions by actually by dissociating, by avoiding sensation in the only way you can, which is dissociating from it. Because you can't not feel. You can't stop emotions from happening, but you can dissociate from them, right? Which does have an effect. It does distort them. So the ego structure is like this cut off space that's in its own little world, right? And then it plugs into all these other ego structures, which makes it feel like, oh, I can be here. It's okay to be here. It's good to be here. In fact, I should stay here. I need complicity, right? And then we get all this complicity stuff and the mass hypnosis of mind identification, which is plaguing the human psyche, right? Collectively. So that is dissociative. And its job, one of its major jobs is to not feel so directly. So there's an underlying assumption that's just sort of built into it. So when we wake up, there's something, that dormant assumption comes forward in a way. It's like, why am I feeling everything so intensely? I shouldn't be, right? I shouldn't be doing that. That's like the remnant of the identity of mind identification voicing itself, right? It's a habit. It's a habit of avoidance. And so it's something like that. That's what I think it is. It's a great question, by the way. Akshay says, wish I would come to India. I just want to see you in person and do what Krishna did for Arjuna. just a living proof that this is possible. The doubt is hard to navigate. I get you. Totally feel you. I don't know if that'll ever happen. It's not impossible, but who knows? But I feel you. I get you. Orca says, I totally recommend circling. Yep. Do it if you can. Jennifer says, speaking of friends, I've met more friends through you than the me who came to Boone in 2023 could ever imagine. Feeling the love. This also showed me the bottomless pit that the seeker can't fill. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice community, like really amazing people we meet in these retreats and so forth. It's really phenomenal. Like you, Jennifer, for instance, and Pamela and Ashley. Okay, this is Sun-Warmed Spheres. That's a great name. There is something you said recently in a video. I don't recall which video or what was said exactly, but I'm thinking that the purpose of life is to get up every day and face into the suffering. Did I say that? And everything else is, oh yeah, folds in around that. Is that true? Well, the purpose of anything is anyone's guess, right? Like you can make the purpose of something this by saying that's what it is. What I will say is if you're prone to waking up, if you're inclined to wake up, if you're inclined to investigate the truth of reality, because you are, for intrinsic reasons, not because you think it's going to get you something, but if you really are interested in that, first of all, that's auspicious, karmically auspicious. Second of all, if that's you, then yeah, I think that's right. I don't know if you don't have to get up every day and do the same thing and face whatever, but I mean, it's about your life becomes about really investigating the nature of suffering itself, and it will go deeper than that, right? Suffering is something that's like it's a breadcrumbs. It's pointing you back to something. It's saying, hey, look here, see what's here, check it out, and then all of the nuances of what causes us to turn in that way, what causes us to start investigating the nature of our own experience or nature of our own identity, all of that, very auspicious. So what I've found in the most awake people I know, the liberated people I know, that's what they do. What they're interested in is investigating the nature of suffering itself, not for themselves anymore, but for those that they interact with and help liberate, because nothing else makes sense much anymore. Not really. I mean, some things do, I suppose. Like, I don't struggle with, like, should I prune my roses? I enjoy pruning my roses. It's not necessarily waking anybody up, but it's just what's happening. It's just what I'm doing. But I can also see very clearly this life has more and more just oriented to like that's kind of service, because it feels so deeply aligned, and it's amazing that people want to do it. And so they have my attention. Cool. This one's from maybe my most favorite recent name. I lost myself again in the scrolling. My most recent favorite name. Where'd they go? Here it is. Spilt Milk Meow. Well, we all have a face that we hide away forever, and we take them out and show ourselves when everyone is gone. Yeah, that's right. That's the Stranger by Billy Joel. If anyone's never heard that song, check it out. It's really good. It's different. It's a different kind of song. It has a different vibe to it. 70s, I think. His album was called The Stranger. It had a really creepy face on the front of it. I remember that. When I was a little kid, it scared me. Ashley says, lots of room here. Literally can watch your dog run away for days in Saskatchewan. This one's from Extrevo. I'm practicing with noticing thoughts, dropping them, and asking, what else is there? I like it. Sometimes, though, I have music earworms that restart as soon as I notice. Funny, but is there anything I can do? I wouldn't worry about the earworms. I get this question sometimes. It's like almost like a different part of your brain, right? The musical It's different than like self-talk almost, or like conceptual thoughts. It's just one of the things the brain can do spontaneously. But just like thoughts, you can also like move your attention like really close to it, like closer and closer, as if you're like seeing where that is appearing, right? If it sounds like the music is appearing here, it's like move your attention up into that space, right? So you can almost, without saying, like without dropping it or labeling it a thought, just noticing it and moving attention toward it. Sometimes that actually calms the whole system down, like the system of earworm music moving through your mind. But it doesn't have to. It's fine. It's fine that it's there. I would actually notice more the thought that says that shouldn't be there, or the thought that says, what do I do about that? That's the one I would say to apply your practice to that you're talking about. Sultans of Swing. All right. Okay. Extrevo, check out. There's a guy on YouTube who plays heavy metal, but what he does, he does covers. And so he'll take songs, like he does one with Sultans of Swing with this other kind of influencer who plays guitar named Mary Spender. Check it out. It's really good. So he's very, very good. He plays all of the instruments. He also sings, but he takes like Sultans of Swing and turns it into this like really, really heavy metal song. But it's good the way he does it. The way he mixes stuff is really cool. Check that out. This one's from Mr. Fisher Price. A lot of the dream I had as the seeking self are coming true. A lot of opportunities are coming my way, and it's triggered all this doubt and identification I thought I had been seen through. Any advice? Don't worry about it. It's all good. Life is going to rearrange itself. That's one thing you can guarantee with this process. It's going to be twists and turns, surprises, things that you did not expect to happen. Really, it's just how it goes. And yeah, things that maybe before awakening you thought about or were interested in or whatever, and all of a sudden they're just materializing. It's kind of cool how that happens, right? Sometimes the what's in the way of those things is not obvious, right? Sometimes even just wanting them too much is in the way in a sense, staying in the mind about things or whatever. But when we calm the whole system down, it's like maybe those were just your natural impulses that are just coming forward more simply now and more spontaneously with less resistance. And so that's good. Not a problem. Akshay says, thanks for pointing. When you just say you can always ground yourself in sensation, I had an emotional release. I went straight into the sensation. Wish I could choose to go like this always. You can. But of course practice, So like I was saying earlier, a lot of times we don't think about it because we're thinking. The mind is just like analyzing, even analyzing about sensations. It's not actually feeling. So attention though can drop out of the mind and go drop into the body, into sensation. Practice it, Kisumu flavor. Tony pointed me to look for the difference between sensory, visual, and awareness. And when I did, the difference vanished. There you go. Only sound, visuals, etc. left and bliss. Next, I tried the mind. Seemed to have reified that exact state into a sad copy of it. Any pointers how to get back behind the copy? Just see, well, I don't know, with the copy, all that, like there's thoughts there, right? Copy of it, like these things they're mental imprints. See if there's any perceptual distance from which those thoughts are being perceived right now. That's how I would do it. Like if there's a vantage point from which those thoughts are experienced, or is it the thought just experiencing itself? Something like that. KHAN 71. I'm always busy or late in these, it seems. Hello, everyone. Well, welcome, even though you're late. This is from Darren. I am an old yogi. During my yoga and somatic practices, at some point, I feel back in my center. My stomach relaxes. I trust and flow with the body sensations. No thought. That's my happy place. Yeah. It's deeply peaceful. Jay from the block. Hi, Angelo. How do you get through existential terror? Does it ever get better or disappear at some point? Oh, for sure. there could be a trauma trigger, by the way. Pay attention that it could be something like a very conventional trauma that's somewhere in the system that is triggering it or whatever. But the experience of existential terror, existential fear, first of all, notice what it is. Notice what the body feels. You're going to feel an increased heart rate. You're going to feel like a tension, maybe a contraction, or just like a heat or something. It might be vibratory. It may feel very expansive, but notice the physical energetics of it, right? Because that's the core of it. That's the root of what's happening first. And then it will be very intense. Then I want you to really notice in real time what the thoughts are saying. And it could be as simple as like a word saying intense or too much or this could kill me. I don't know what your thoughts are saying. So just notice those. Notice any thoughts that are in the background, even subtle ones, will actually be distorting of this experience quite a bit. Then also notice even if there's like an image of a physical reaction, like a visual image in your mind of reacting to something, like pulling back, or it could almost be early life. It might feel like a child's memory almost. So just look for these. And they could be subtle and at the periphery of your experience. But the fact that they're there, you may realize, oh, I'm identifying with that a little bit without noticing it. Yeah. Because I know it's a full-on experience. It's intense, right? Cool. This one's from Guatemala. I do have a question. Goal setting always puts me way in my head. Do you have any pointers on setting healthy goals without getting confused about thoughts? If a goal is really mine, effortless. Let's see what else they're saying there. But hard to tell if the goal is not mine or I'm just avoiding effort. Yeah, if you're getting heady about goals, then try a very simple approach. Like, first of all, ask, do I need to make a goal about this thing? And so, for instance, maybe it's a work-related issue and you do have to have a goal. You have to have a timeline to get a job done or something. Sure. So just ask yourself, do I need to make a goal about this? And if it's yes, if it's no, then don't worry about it for now, right? And if it keeps coming back and it starts to feel like, oh, I really want to make a goal about this, then it won't be a problem. But if it's like, no, I don't need to even worry about this right now, don't worry about it. But if it's like, yes, I need to make a goal, then ask yourself, what's the simplest way I can structure a goal that's reasonable right now, and write it down? And write it down tells your body like, okay, it's been encoded, it's been committed to. Then just forget about it. Don't worry about it after that. Let it go, right? Let it go. You'll remember it the next day when you need to take action or whatever. That's how I recommend it. Because if you're in your head about it, it's like you're probably negotiating about it. Like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Whatever. Just take the most simple, clean, practical approach to the goal and then just move on. That's what I recommend for now. Sherry Miller says, hi, Angelo. I've been doing one of your body scan meditations every day for about 3 months. Wow. Finally, I'm feeling a lot of emotion in my chest and abdomen. I'm just sitting with that for about an hour afterward, just feeling it. I'm not sure if I have a question. Well, that's awesome. I love when people tell me these empirical things that I don't hear very often, that you actually did that for 3 months. But if you're just staying with the sensation, I could probably even answer the question I'm going to ask you, but are you noticing a decrease in reactivity? Are you noticing an overall increase in equanimity? Are you noticing less thoughts in general? I'm guessing all that is the case, right? I don't know for sure, but that would be my guess based on the fact that I think you're really doing what you're saying you're doing. It's great. It's awesome work. Okay. Sherry Miller says, okay, I do have a question. I am trying to decide whether to sell my house and move out of the country or stay where I am, ultimately run out of the country and ultimately run out of money. Oh, excuse me. I don't want to leave my family or my pets, but the reality is this: I am on disability and cannot work too much. Okay. Excuse me. And that's the question, I think. Yeah, I don't see anything else. I think that was the whole thing. Okay. I can't really advise you on that. I mean, I feel for you. That's a tricky place to be. I get that. Totally understand that. But I always feel, I always feel it's not my place to answer people's practical questions for some reason, or even give advice, unless I'm really good friends with somebody or something. But even then, I usually am like, what does your gut say? What does your gut say about this? And usually they know. So I that's how I do things. I ask my gut, like just literally, like if something's like for even a minute, it's like confusing. Like, should I do this or that? I'm like, oh, okay. And it's just feel into my gut. I know the answer. So that's how it works for me. But I can't say that's the right thing for everybody. That's what I do. I don't know. I wish you luck though, and I hope things work out for you. And I know you don't want to leave your pets. That's so sweet, and your family. And I know that's hard. I feel that that's a hard place to be. You could also do some brainstorming on a third possibility. Sometimes our minds get into the trench of like, it's got to be either this or this. And those are kind of extreme variations, right? Maybe that's all the choice you have. I don't know. Maybe it is, but it's like extreme variation. So it's like, what if you go, okay, wait a minute. Can I think of 10 things that are between those, right? I don't know, having a roommate, or I just don't know. But you could also have AI help you. ChatGPT is good at stuff like this. Just go, give me 20 possibilities that don't include this and this, or whatever, So maybe some brainstorming. Good luck. This one is from Federico. Hi, Angelo. How to deal with toxic, manipulative, arrogant people at work. The guy triggers me so much. Every third encounter with him is discussion that leaves me anxious and ruminating all day. That's tricky at work, right? Loss of a pet. The loss of a pet was the second question from the same person. Yeah, it's tricky when you work with somebody because you might be stuck with them to some degree. I mean, if it's overt enough that you can go talk to somebody, the boss or HR or whatever, maybe you need to do that. But a lot of times people who do this kind of covert stuff, they do it so it's plausibly deniable, right? Like it would just be worse if you did because, they'll deny it and, put it back on you, or who knows? Maybe not though. Maybe you don't know unless you try of actually talking to somebody about it. So that's always a possibility. You always consider that. You can also talk to the person, but if you do, make sure you're prepared. People, if they're truly toxic and manipulative and all that, they've been confronted many times and they're very good at turning it back and projecting it back onto the person who's confronting them. They're not good with boundaries. So be aware it may be fruitless and make things worse or make things worse. But maybe not. Again, you don't know unless you try once, right? And say like, here's my boundaries. Here's what I'm seeing. This is how it makes me feel. I'd really like to get along with you in the workplace, but this isn't working for me. Is there something we can do to move forward and get along well or something? If you don't think either of those are possible or reasonable or will work at all, consider whether you really want to work there, And if none of those if you can't do the first two and you definitely want to stay at the job, you got to sit with yourself and go, okay, how can I just release this? Yeah. And one way of doing that is asking yourself, what is it about myself that person reminds me of? It's like so hard to do that, but it's really valuable. And you'll go, first thing you'll think is like, nothing, I'm not like that person, right? And then you have to ask yourself, well, what things do I do that are slightly different than what they do, or maybe milder versions of what they do that I can find in myself? So sometimes that, even though it's very hard to do and can be triggering to yourself, can actually diffuse things because you start to see them a little differently, even if they have still not the best behavior. So those are my suggestions. And how to deal with the loss of a pet. That's sad, right? Feel it. It's all you can do, Feel it. Yeah. You could try something ceremonial. There's some value to ceremonies that help us to process things and, that kind of thing. But it's hard. Okay. I'll have time for maybe one or two more. This one's from Bogdan. Hi, Angelo. Could you please say something about the difference between desire from Fetter 4 perspective and authentic desire that can be lost connection to you spoke in deprecation wound about? Lost connection. Yeah. When Fetter 4 specifically, you'll feel reactivity around it. It'll be a desire that puts you in your head, a desire that dissociates you, a desire that distracts you, a desire that has implications you don't like, a desire that It's like a bad habit. Like, sure, I feel like I want to drink, and then when I drink, I regret it. I feel guilt. I hurt people. I make myself sick. Whatever happens, right? That's just an example. That's a reaction. Like that's an unhealthy desire, right? It's causing you suffering. It's laden with all kinds of other implications. On the other hand, it's like, I like to eat sushi because that's what I notice about myself. But there's no fixation on it. Totally different, right? That's how I divide those. But then you said lost connection, like spoke in the deprecation wound. What's interesting about things that seem to be missing, like a deprecation wound, deprivation wound, deprecation wound, it would be the sense of just being simply okay as you are. The deprivation wound would be like emotional warmth and so forth. But the lack of those is often not even interpreted as a desire. It's often not even recognized that you're really in need of those things, right? Does that make sense? Strangely. And you actually may have a desire that's totally different than those, that's either a surrogate for those or a distraction from those. That's how I see those connected together. But those unmet needs and so forth, they feel more like tenderness, more like vulnerability, more like emotion. They're just direct experiences. They're not seeking, right? There's something that it's like where your attention actually wants to go rather than some distraction of seeking that's reactive. It's a really good question, by the way. This one's from Svantastic. Hi, Angelo. Sometimes I experience a near total letting go, which comes with a beautiful sense of selflessness. I feel like I'm gone. Is this what people mean by dropping away? Yeah. Pretty accurate. This one's Nomi, says, from all your pointings, I just love the image of sitting in the trunk. It has helped me tremendously. That's Kogan. I heard Kogan say that once. I didn't make that one up. I don't know if he made it up, but I heard him say it. He said, you think you're in the driver's seat, but at some point you realize you were never in the driver's seat. You're in the trunk. You're in the trunk. And I might even add, and you're in the trunk of a car and it's being driven by a bunch of intoxicated rednecks that are four-wheeling through a field, yeehawing out the window and chewing tobacco and hitting mailboxes with baseball bats. And you're in the trunk. Just kidding. Okay. Okay, one more here. This is Kasumo Flavor. Referring to your reply to my Feder 4 and 5 question, I thought the sensation like the knot in the stomach were the reaction. No, sensations aren't reactions. But I guess the reaction would be I isolate, yep, stop talking, or say yep, those are the reactions. The reaction is the thing you think you need to do because you feel a certain way, essentially, right? It's like I'm driving in traffic and a series of things happens quickly. Someone cuts me off in traffic or drives really close in front of me. I feel some intensity in my body. I feel anger rise up. I don't even notice these things. And then I go, that guy's an asshole. And I'm shaking my fist or flipping him off or whatever, right? That's the reaction. The reaction is what I actually have associated with the stimulus that without even looking at it, I actually believe I have to do. I think, no, I have to tell that guy he's an asshole. How's he going to learn otherwise, right? That's the reaction. You have no clue that like, oh, actually, no, there was a sensation and then there was an emotion, fear. And then the reaction to the fear is like looking at that guy, projecting it outward and going, he's not driving the way he's supposed to. And I'm going to elect myself the police, or whatever it is. That's all the reaction chain. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Starting with the video interview with Kevin, maybe on 4 and 5 will help because I know we structured the question in there for sure that way. But I will tell you, this is very slippery work. For you and anyone listening, Feder 4 and 5 are very slippery. Even when I work with people, I tell them ahead of time, I give them all these disclaimers. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to forget about it. You're going to get distracted. You're going to have trouble formulating the question. The mind just does this. It's like, it doesn't want to see that. It wants the mind wants to keep the reaction because it feels like it feels so justified, right? You don't actually want to get rid of the reaction. So you're kind of swimming upstream to do this, but you can do it. And it's simple, but it's tricky a little bit because you will get distracted and you will have some resistance to trying even to formulate the question. But if you follow those steps that we lay out, you can do it. So nice work. Cool. All right, everybody. I'm heading out. It was really nice talking to you all. This one more comment. This one's from man. Had an apparent awakening at a retreat in September. Days of complete clarity. All thoughts and narratives, obviously, and hilariously nonsense. Awesome. Back to real life. Identity has fought back with a vengeance. Yeah. Honeymoon period's a blast. And then the shadow work comes. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all. I really appreciate all of your support, your interactions, your questions, your vulnerable, honest questions. I appreciate you all doing the work, by the way, and waking up and continuing to wake up and helping others and just being awesome people. Thank you all so much.